Family comes over wealth and power. Despite being poor, one cannot leave his family, the people that love him. You can't tempt a person with his dream, with the condition of him leaving his family. Greed will not get you anywhere, and with love and loyalty, you will be ultimately rewarded. Hello and welcome to Comedy Recap. Today we're going to give you a recap of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which is a movie from the fantasy genre. It is the perfect family movie, leaving you chocolate craving. Get your chocolate bars and sweets ready, as this is going to be one roller coaster. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. The film begins with the introduction to Charlie Bucket and his family, who reside in a crooked little house in the shadows of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Charlie's grandpa Joe tells Charlie about his time working for the socially awkward Willy Wonka 20 years ago. Wonka was a brilliant confectioner whose candy was so profitable that demand skyrocketed, and he went from running a little corner store to constructing a vast factory 50 times the size of any other in the world in no time. The triumph of Willy Wonka wasn't without flaws. Competing candy producers, jealous of Wonka's success, began sending spies in to steal his trade secrets, and Wonka found himself dealing with industrial espionage at home. Frustrated, Wonka shut down the production and laid off all the workers. The factory magically began manufacturing chocolate a few years later, but no one knows who is in charge of the factory or what happened to Willy Wonka. Wonka announces a contest in which golden tickets are hidden in 5 random Wonka bars around the world, and the winners will receive a full tour of the factory, as well as a lifelong supply of chocolate, with an additional prize at the end of the tour. Wonka's sales soar, and the greedy Augustus Gloop, the spoiled Veruca Salt, the pretentious Violet Beauregard, and the irritable Mike TV find the first 4 tickets. Charlie suffers unanticipated repercussions as a result of his search for the golden tickets. His father works at the Smileplex plant, where he screws caps onto toothpaste tubes. Because of the increase in candy sales, the manufacturer decides to automate their assembly line, replacing Mr. Bucket with an automated robot who can do his job in half the time. As a result, Mr. Bucket becomes unemployed, and the situation worsens in the Bucket household. Charlie looks for a ticket twice, but both bars are empty. With no golden ticket, later he discovers a $10 on the ground and buys a third Wonka bar, from which he uncovers the golden ticket inside the wrapper. Although he receives monetary offers for the ticket, the cashier advises him not to trade it, and Charlie returns home. At home, Charlie claims he wants to trade it for money to help his family. However, after a pep talk from Grandpa George, he chooses to keep it and takes Grandpa Joe on the tour with him. The next day, Charlie and Grandpa Joe, along with the other winners, head to the factory gates. They are quickly led into the factory's main courtyard and up to the front doors, which open to reveal several mechanical dolls singing a Willy Wonka song before sparklers go off and the performance catches fire and is destroyed. Wonka arrives from the side and gives them an awkward welcome speech when the fire dies down. He then leads them all into the building and invites them into the chocolate room. It's an edible jungle where Wonka urges his visitors to have fun. As they savor the various candies, Veruca notices some small people nearby working, drawing everyone's attention. Wonka says that the Oompa Loompas are his employees. They arrive from Loompa Land, where they were constantly afraid of being devoured by numerous wild animals. Wonka came across them while exploring their woodlands in search of fresh, unusual tastes for his chocolates. He discovered that the cocoa bean, the main ingredient in chocolate manufacture, was treasured in their society. As a result, he was able to persuade the Oompa Loompas to come work for him in the factory in exchange for all of the cocoa beans they desired. Later, Augustus attempts to sip chocolate directly from the chocolate river that runs through the chamber, and things quickly go awry. Wonka tries to persuade Augustus to stop, but he refuses and falls in. He's subsequently pulled into a pipe that harvests chocolate and transports it to the portion of the factory where Wonka's fudge is produced. He becomes stuck in the pipe because of his massive size, causing a blockage. The Oompa Loompas gather around the pipe and sing a song about Augustus's gluttony and greed as the tour group stands there, perplexed and anxious. Augustus tries to wiggle free at the end of the song, causing the pressure to change, allowing him to be shot the rest of the way up the pipe and into the fudge chamber. To rescue Augustus, Wonka has some of the Oompa Loompas take down Augustus's mother to the fudge room. After that, they all board a pink sugar boat. Wonka is revealed to have personal problems coming from his tense relationship with his overbearing father, Dr. Wilbur Wonka. Wilbur forbade Willy from eating candy and routinely threw away any candy he received on Halloween. The boat eventually comes to a halt in front of the inventing room's door. Wonka reveals that this is where he tests many of his candy formulae before releasing them to the public. Wonka then produces a little stick of gum after leading them over to a bizarre device. Violet enthusiastically wants to chew it, despite Wonka's protest, because it contains a 3-course feast. As a result, she begins to have a negative reaction to the gum once it reaches the dessert portion of blueberry pie and ice cream, which Wonka had warned Violet about. Her skin begins to become purple, and she swells to the size of a 10-foot blueberry. Some Oompa Loompas appear and roll her back to the boat, where they take her and her mother to a separate room so they can squeeze the juice out of her. The rest of the group is then transported to the nut room, where trained squirrels shell walnuts around the clock. Veruca squeals with delight at the sight of the squirrels and demands one for herself. Veruca walks down to the factory floor to get one after Wonka refuses her request. She is quickly pursued by the squirrels, and after one of the tests on her head, she is labeled a bad nut and thrown down the garbage chute in the middle of the room. Mr. Salt is also pushed down the hole by a squirrel afterward. The great glass elevator next transports Wonka, Mike, Charlie, and their guardians through the factory's other rooms. Mike TV brings up another recollection from Wonka's past in this room. It's revealed that Wonka eventually gave up trying to win his father's approval and fled to become a chocolatier. When he returned, he discovered that his father, along with the row house where they lived, had vanished. Wonka eventually lets Mike press a button, and the two proceed to the TV room, where Wonka has created some weird electronics. Specifically, a gadget that sends a gigantic bar of chocolate to a nearby TV, shrinks it to normal size for the public to eat it. Wonka says that this technology will revolutionize television ads, but Mike is furious that Wonka hasn't realized he's invented a teleporter. Mike then starts the gadget in a show of defiance and is zapped to the television set, shrinking to the size of a mouse. Wonka suggests stretching Mike back to his original size by putting him in the taffy puller. Willie sees that Charlie and Grandpa Joe are the only two visitors left, and Mr. TV and Mike have been escorted away, and names Charlie the winner of his tournament. The gang then boarded the huge glass elevator where Wonka pressed a button he'd been wanting to press for years, up and out, which propels them up to the factory's tallest chimney, finally bursting through the glass and out into the sky above it. Wonka activates the elevator's boosters as they descend, and they get to view the other candidates' walk of shame and reveal irreversible changes as a result of their experiences. Wonka then sends Charlie and Grandpa Joe back to the Bucket's home, where he reveals his special prize. Wonka asks Charlie to join him in the factory, but only if he leaves his family behind. Charlie declines, stating that his family comes first in his life. Wonka becomes dejected as Charlie and his family live happily ever after, causing his company and sales to plummet. He eventually seeks advice from Charlie, who decides to assist Wonka in reconciling with his estranged father, Wilbur. During the reunion, Charlie finds newspaper cuttings of Wonka's achievements that Wilbur had collected, while Wonka finally learns the importance of family as he and Wilbur reconcile. Wonka then invites Charlie and his family to move inside the factory as a family. The two work together now, and they all live happily ever after. So that is all the time we had today, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and do hit the bell icon to remain updated to view all of our amazing videos. See you all next time.